We shall overcome someday. The last words spoken by civil rights activist Viola Liuzzo.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.
Viola, a housewife and mother of 5 from Detroit, Michigan, was the only white woman killed by the Ku Klux Klan during the Civil Rights Movement. Viola's legacy for racial justice through peaceful protesting against government voter discrimination becomes dishonored in a smear campaign led by the FBI to cover up their involvement in her murder. Despite these attempts to shatter her place in history, the message of hope lives on with the passing of the Civil Rights Voting Act of 1965, signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson. Viola entered the world in California, Pennsylvania on April 11, 1925, during the peak of the Industrial Revolution. For Americans, it was a time for great change. With the passing of the 19th Amendment, this gave all women the right to vote. But for people of color, it was a time of great division. Southern President Woodrow Wilson had just imposed government segregation in the White House and federal buildings on April 11, 1921, sanctioning the separation of blacks and whites. The Ku Klux Klan, a white supremacist group endorsed by the president, further divided the races through terror and lynching. Southern Jim Crow laws made daily life unbearable. Viola grew up in the southern part of Georgia. She did not have these views. From a young age, she was colorblind. She demonstrated this action at the age of 6 by taking money from her parents' store to give to a poor black child in need, unaware of a difference. When America entered World War II in December of 1941, Viola followed her family, like many, north to Detroit to support the war effort by working in a bomb factory. Again, she crossed the colored line, this time with her best friend Sarah Evans, as did many soldiers who faced life or death. When black soldiers returned home, they faced their own war for equal rights. Following the war, the world for both Viola and America began to change. This action of President Truman's Executive Order 8802 and Viola's open relationship with Sarah proves that public opinion was now shifting towards freedom and equality. This is evident in the 1944 Smith v. Allwright case, in which the Supreme Court found a restricted all-white primary denied Smith, a colored person, his constitutional right to vote. State laws for voter registration required blacks to take literacy tests and to pay poll taxes. This was enforced by the KKK to disenfranchise black citizens, but Amelia Robinson defied the odds. Reverend Martin Luther King in 1954 was a rising civil rights leader.
I think I could best answer that question by saying first that the new Negro is a person with a new sense of dignity and destiny, with a new self-respect.
Raising fears of FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover in 1956 created a program called COINTELPRO. Designed to protect national security, it used illegal practices and informants to spy on and disband the resistant movements and the Ku Klux Klan. Something was happening to Viola as well. In 1961, she entered Wayne State University and was influenced by Henry Thoreau's civil disobedience essay. She shares beliefs on the power of one person to peacefully resist a wrongful government and joins the NAACP. By 1965, while attending the Unitarian Universalist Church, she began to follow Reverend Boyd, a former freedom rider, along with Martin Luther King's nonviolent resistance movement. Change was coming by 1965. Lowndes County was drawing attention from the Justice Department due to low voting registration among blacks. Jim Crow supporters had been terrorizing the 15,000 black residents, preventing them from voting since 1945. Only 135 were registered to vote. Dr. King addressed townspeople in a rally at the Brown Chapel Church in Selma, Alabama. Martin Luther King violated city injunctions and led nonviolent protests against voter discrimination. There were over 300 arrests between January and March of 1965. Martin Luther King was among them. Growing concerns came from Washington about the tension in Selma. The COINTEL program used Gary Rowe, an informant since 1960, to report Klan's activities in Selma. Rowe, a known violent KKK member, had bombed the 16th Street Chapel and had beaten George Webb, a freedom rider, in 1961. His report told the FBI that the Klan was planning a murder. Viola and America witnessed on national television the attack of state troopers on 600 nonviolent protesters at the base of the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
It is detrimental to your safety to continue this march, and I'm saying that this is an unlawful assembly. You have to disperse. You are ordered to disperse, go home, or go to your church. This march will not continue.
Raising their sticks and the bullwhips. Those moments when the troopers came toward us, I knew then we would be beat.
It was a pivotal moment in the voting rights campaign and in Viola's own life.
What happened in Selma was an American tragedy.
Reverend King called on America to join the cause.
I say to you, as we march, don't panic, and remember that we must remain true to nonviolence. I'm asking everybody in the line. If you can't be nonviolent, don't get in it. If you can't accept blows without retaliating, don't get in the line. If you can accept it out of your commitment to nonviolence, you will somehow do something for this nation that may well save it.
Viola came to join the movement. She drove alone 3 days, leaving her husband and 5 children behind, despite fears that she may be killed.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future? Don't you try to think ahead. Save tomorrow for tomorrow. Think about today instead.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz?
I could give you facts and figures.
What's happening? What's the buzz? Tell me what's
We must work to make the Declaration of Independence real.
She wanted equal rights for everybody, no matter what the cost.
Viola left a legacy to America that good can trample evil, but only with action and unity.
That their voices could be that difference.
Her family worked to overcome the injustice that America did to her, and still struggling to make sense of a government that hated and loved her actions.
She was there for the buses in Montgomery, the hoses in Birmingham, a bridge in Selma, and a preacher from Atlanta who told the people that we shall overcome. Yes, we can.
Viola knew that she would make a difference with her life. Sarah Evans recalls her friend telling her, "You know, Sarah, they're going to write about us someday. We're going to change the world." And she did.
Americans who sent a message to the world that we have never been just a collection of individuals or a collection of red states and blue states. We are and always will be the United States of America.